Good morning. Most kids here in North Texas will be heading back to school in about 2 weeks or so, Monday, August 12th to be exact. School leaders say after a long summer break, the transition back to school, it can be rocky without some structure. Joining us this morning is Tina Robertson, the Director of Innovation and Impact at Momentor Institute. Good morning to you, Tina.
Good morning. How are
I'm
you?
doing well. So first off, tell us more about this institute.
Yeah, Momentus Institute. We work at the intersection of mental health and education. And our goal is really to help students really realize that they can thrive in life by pairing those rigorous academics alongside strong mental health and social emotional skills.
So needed. What emotions do children often face when heading back to school? I remember as a kid, I would get a little nervous, but excited at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it square on the head. So there's a lot of excitement and then there's a lot of nerves, right? There's some kids who are coming back and for them, school hasn't really been the strongest place for them, right? And so they're going to need a lot of support. Then there are kids who are overwhelmed because there's a lot happening around us. And so we think about them as well. And then also, we're dealing with a lot of anxiety as kids come back to school. And it's important to know that all of this is very common and it's very normal. Anxiety is really that worry, that preoccupation,
Yeah.
kind of that what if emotion. What if my teacher doesn't like me? What if I don't like my teacher? What if my friends from last year aren't there? So just knowing that these are very common emotions is so important.
Tina, what can parents do to help kids head back to school when it comes to these emotions, and what should they look out for as well?
Yeah, you know what I like to say is that parents are their child's best tool and strategy, right? So I think they can't underestimate how important it is to just be present and to attune in. And then I'd like to think about a couple of things. One, notice and normalize. So if you see emotions that are popping up that may not have been there or may be becoming more persistent, just notice it and normalize. Kids are experiencing transition and change. So all of this is very normal for them. And then they can also help their kids, what we call name it to tame it, right? So if
Mm.
you see that emotion, you might say to your child, hey, I've noticed that you've had some anxious thoughts this week. Tell me about that. So you're naming it so you can then tame it and manage it. And then together you can really work toward managing some of these emotions. Breathing together, walking together after the school and work day is really helpful.
Oh, Tina, great tips and strategy there. How can people reach out to you?
Yes, we are at momentusinstitute.org and we have lots of resources you can download, especially for our parents.
Hmm.
Our mental health toolkit. We also have several resources for blogs and just a wealth of support for schools and for kids and for parents who are returning back to school.
Oh, perfect. Tina Robertson with Momentus Institute. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daybreak.